hopefully, well, I know most of y'all never even heard of me before, even though I have like over 200 videos out, but that comes off my fault for not being that enticing to the viewer. Anything else, fresh start, new year, new videos, not much new me. And, I hope everybody had a great, great time watching the ball drop. It's great, but this is going to be a different review. There will be Raw SmackDown reviews, but reviews that I'll do somewhat rarely, just to get a bit of WWE off me, and I'll try to change up. Planning to make a secondary channel to just do sports and just this one because mine early just nearly a majority of my content bases on pro wrestling, and I know that I'm a hardcore fan of it. But Jesus Christ, I have over hundreds of videos. I think 200 now, mainly talking about pro wrestling. So I was like, forget it. Maybe I should do just a secondary channel. But let's go over. We were in Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis for AEW Dynamite, and it was a nice time out watching Dynamite because most of the slander I've been seeing for it, saying it's a bad show, the concept seemed whack. It seems like they're not trying to tell any stories. That the basis of Dynamite is that they have a package full of indie darlings that have no charismatic bone or identity in their body other than trying to be something is somewhat more mature NXT, except they carried off the charisma of Chris Jericho and star power coming from bigger companies like Chris Jericho, John Moxley, some Japanese women that you might see from I think it's called Shimmer and something else, and Jake Hager that does Bellator, and some indie guys that you heard of, and of course Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So yeah, there was a bit of hype securing to their pay-per-view. I think it's coming in 2 weeks. Called Revolution. It's going to be involving the only big pay-per-view matches that I've seen over the course of the build-up was, of course, MJF because he backstabbed Cody after he lost to Chris Jericho back at Full Gear, and John Moxley facing off against Chris Jericho for the AEW World Title. Anything else? Riho is still AEW Women's Champion. SCU still AEW Tag Team Champions. There will be a mid-card belt coming all the way, but we have a tag team belt. Tag team belts, women's belt, a world title, and a ring. That doesn't succumb to anything except MJF's boost on gloating so we can get some personal heel heat that was secured. To why is Taz on commentary? That is super weird. Now we got Excalibur, Jim Ross, something something, and Jim and now Taz. That's kind of a weird combination. I thought AEW would do good, just two guys on commentary. Even WWE bases this up because of the injuries thing they're going with Dio Matt now, Vic Joseph, Samoa Joe, and now it's just Michael Cole and Vic Joseph. I mean, no, not Michael Cole and Vic Joseph. Vic Joseph is Jerry and Vic Joseph. But other than that, I feel like two is better because it's literally on the basis of just pro wrestling. It's not that wacky or high professional storyline based like what WWE does. So I was just succumbing a bit more just color commentary and strict play-by-play. But anything else, the main event was the Lucha Bros versus the Elite. That's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Hangman Page had a segment later on the show involving Private Party, where they were having an interview going into how it's going to feel because this year now, thanks it's a new year, they swiped the records clean. So that was technically the end of a season for AEW. And I came up to Hangman Page getting a drink. Somehow, Private Party owns the beer, the alcohol, technically the bar, and then just restrict Hangman Page from trying to take a drink until they took it anyway and said he would kick all their asses. And then scheduled later over the show because he had an interaction with him. It went into a tag team match with him and Kenny Omega against Private Party for next week on Dynamite. There was a fatal four-way match involving Nyla Rose that somehow got suspended. I didn't even know he was transgender. Britt Baker and Hikaru Shinada, they opened up the match. I know this wasn't the opening match, but I wanted to get this out of my mind because I thought this weakest fatal four-way. Even though it had some stud finishes, it was just false finish. Raiho's light ass double running shining wizard to the face, and it nearly got some big moves, some big near falls. Some decent exchanges with Britt Baker, but the best moves were when Hikaru Shida and Raiho were in the match. Even though whenever Raiho took a move, it always ended up with her feeling like she's a little girl. Like that little girl that Kenny Omega hit that Enziguri on a couple of years back. That's how it feels. And as offensive as that sound, I'm honest. At least. Raiho retained over a roll-up. Then earlier, she had somewhat a translator in there for an interview going into her next title defense. So 2 title defenses in a row for an anniversary of Dynamite. And freaking, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. A fatal 4-way and then a one-on-one match against another wrestler. Not one of the women that she didn't pin the fatal 4-way. That's interesting. Nyla Rose just came earlier tonight. They even discussed how it should. She didn't even look like an interesting. She had some decent moves, but other than that, she just continued trying to act like the powerhouse and things, and thought she was being aggressive, even though she was consuming most of the punishment. The fatal 4-ways just felt like a complete mess, and I did not like it. Darby Allin had Cody Rhodes, and Darby Allin, he does these little promos. I saw this before when he faced off against Cody. When he faced off against John Moxley, and he was dragging a body bag around the time, and he's lost to John Moxley. And Cody had Arn Anderson as technically a coach or somewhat manager, just say manager. I don't know why they were trying. I know Cody's trying to make like a different type of pro wrestling show. Kudos to him for trying to actually take control and actually feel like he's making something different in pro wrestling. That's a good thing for me. For anybody else watching, don't feel like they're getting the monotonous same thing like WWE or any other pro wrestling that does. But this match was okay. But I thought they were trying to succumb to such a heelish trope as the manager legit having a distraction-based advantage and then making a play sheet like Arn Anderson's looking like Andy Reid wearing the freaking sweater, trying to say secrets or moves for Cody to do. There was some sunset flip off the top. That was a freaking awesome move. A cool little reversal. They had some great exchanges. In like the earlier parts of the match, having a 20-minute time limit does restrict things, but I think that's a good restriction to have because I think matches should be at least 20, like at least 10, 15 minutes, not freaking 25 or what WWE does because they have 3 hours they can get away with anything. But their main events really are underwhelming. So having that little restriction is good. Ended up with Cody getting a crossroads and ending over the match, but still, it was a good match. Alright match, but it did nothing except these guys are top and they got to wrestle because they have a win-loss record. So not much, no rhyme or reason except they have to do it for the record thing. So I get it at least. I still don't get why you need a win-loss record. Sometimes for certain wrestlers, a win-loss record doesn't improve, especially when they're in a storyline. There was also earlier in the night, Joey Janela was about to be interviewed coming into the new year until his ex-girlfriend low-blowed him, and then Kip Sabian came walking off the ring, and then I thought immediately they were coming out the ring to talk about why did they low-blow Joey Jelena. No, they just went up and walked away. That was the end of the segment. Like it did not exist. Uh, like another segment at the main event of a show I did not want to exist. Like that wedding segment. God, I missed you. But still, uh, interesting. Interesting way to cap off. And this is a bit realistically personal. Not as personal as the Lita Matt Hardy thing is. A few of my friends that I told about the situation with Joey Jolene and Kip Sabian. But Lita cheated. She didn't technically. Her Joey's ex didn't really cheat. Just broke up with him. Went with a guy that Joey knew. Oh, wow, it's kind of close though. Yeah, interesting segment. There was also a SCU segment involving how the tag team champions are going to be. The Sammy Guevara that had two segments. He had a match against Dustin Rhodes and then interrupted SCU and then insulted Christopher Daniels and then scheduled a match with him and then challenged him to a match next week on Dynamite. Where I thought it felt like a super corny. The guy comes with his phone looking light skinned as hell. He just, oh god, Sammy Guevara just looks like a 16-year-old that just knows how to wrestle well. Uh, yeah, I'm not saying that Sammy Guevara isn't talented. He's incredibly talented, and he's young. He still has a lot of growing powers. I don't think he can even be like top of the mid card, but like for an opening act, he's fine. It was just boring, and it felt so bland. Like, I'm gonna challenge you because you're old. You don't have a championship with your faction has tag team titles. So yeah, I just insulted him, and then Christopher Daniels called him out. At the end of the segment, no one cared. Then there was Trent Beretta against John Moxley in a one-on-one match. Jericho came out earlier in the segment proposing Moxley joined the inner circle, and then that prompted to Sammy Guevara trying to co-opt them into a match, into joining as well, but in person. Then Moxley just said, respectively, I'd like to ask you. But the match, it was okay. The commentator was just trying to like mock him because Jim Ross called his matches on SmackDown. He called them Beretta, referencing his name, monotonous name changes. There was a decent Hurricane Rana. There was a pile driver. There was a brutal ass pile driver. I thought those were illegal in WWE. He legit like pulled off a pile driver. The double hook slam from Moxley. Uh, trying to go up top outside. The ramp was incredibly close because of the size of the arena. So it was only like one of those little hole things that they try to rip off Impact TNA from back in the day. Uh, Caught him up from up top, hit him in the gut, and hit him with I'm gonna just say freaking dirty deeds. No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna get away with that. I don't care if he has a finishing name change, dude. It's still dirty deeds. I've known him for nearly a decade as Dean Ambrose. Give me a break, bro. I've seen him since his time in the Shield. I don't care. I'm not gonna be a smart and just say, "Oh, I knew him since he was called John Moxley back in the day on CCW when he won the Wired World Title." Shut up. No one cares. The match was fine and ended with Ambrose sending a second one on him. There was a fun segment when Chuck Taylor, no, it wasn't Chuck Taylor, it was Orange Cassidy. He rolled up with the group I think on November, that he's been messing around with the group, or October. He came around with his pockets, and then Moxley was like, I can do that shit too, man. I put my hands on my freaking pockets, and Cassidy was just walking out. That was like a cute little segment. And everything Cassidy in is gold. It's funny. It's simple. Just a laid back, quiet wrestler. And that's so funny in so many ways. Because that kind of relates to how I am in public. Incredibly quiet. Act funny when I need to. And just walk out of the way whenever I feel like I'm going to get my ass in trouble. And that's funny. That's funny to me. I find that, and that's subjective for certain people. And I find that really funny. That was a really nice segment. And ended with a cliffhanger for what's going to happen with Moxley in the inner circle. And that's kind of interesting that Jericho just wants him in the group, technically, to manipulate him. We all know that. Uh, Not that much, and it just went into Sammy Guevara facing off against. He had that coming into the ring saying, "You mess around with all these people drinking the guy's Pepsi and then eating around this man's popcorn and then tossing it around." And he thought he was succumbing to so much heel heat. If you don't get this epitaph without pigment Hispanic slave out of my wrestling ring. And he wrestled alright against Dustin Rhodes. He came out from behind Sammy Guevara in the ring, and they had their match when Jake Hager played a factor into it. And it was Sammy Guevara picking up. I think it was a roll-up victory. I didn't get to watch much of it, but ended up with him winning. There was a sun, sunset flip. I mean, there was a code red there was a Canadian destroyer from the ring apron. Big move of the night. There was a tope coming from Sammy Guevara. Really good moves coming from Dustin Rhodes, but this didn't technically tell the story, except that the numbers game is always going to come a factor whenever the inner circle is in the group. And I feel like this was just an impromptu group, so it looked like Jericho just took any guys that he likes from the indies and took them. Like, it's not like any rhyme or reason. If he wanted, he could have just taken veterans in the ring and just ripped off like an Impact or WWE faction that's based on veterans. But no, he tried to take some young guys. Jake Hager, Sammy Guevara, uh, Ortiz, and Santana or LAX from Impact. So if you still watch Impact, I pray for you. And yeah, interesting selection. There is also the segment involving MJF trying to actually think he is that agonizing of a heel, talking shit, bringing up over his family, saying that he's willing to embarrass Cody Rhodes, feel like he's fake, and just completely treat him like the little dog that he is. And that was an average segment. Him just cussing out around the TV because they still have TV 14. It's okay. It just didn't prove that much of a point. Didn't cause that much heat. It's nice that he's just an agonizingly terrible dude to be around. He's a dipshit. He doesn't even make World War. I think he's mispronounced the dude's name like numerous amounts of times just to be a douche. And that's decent, basic little entrepreneur douchebaggery. And he's okay in the ring. I just don't care about MJF that much because he doesn't do that much to feel like he's a real douchebag. As simple as a rich boy dick can be. I've seen it numbers of times, and it doesn't impress me unless he's incredibly over the top. And I think MJF is better off in Major League Wrestling than AEW at certain times because he actually has a legit faction called the Dynasty. But anything else? Just an alright segment. Cody Rhodes didn't come, but he came after the Elite win against the Lucha Bros and Pac that Hangman Page was on commentary for. But the match was okay. It had a time limit because that was the end of the show. That was the main event. Tried to ask Hangman Page, come into the ring. The match was okay. It was the same thing. Tope, Top Gun Holo from Kenny Omega, Hurricane Arana, Nick Jackson, and Phoenix had their segment because they had a one-on-one match last time I saw Dynamite. That was really fun to watch. I would ask you to go watch it. And oh my god, the positivity's kicking in. I don't know why the hell I liked this show. Oh god, this was such an average show. I mean, I'm just saying, it was like quite decently enjoyable. Average promo. I thought the promos needed work, but the wrestling was alright. It wasn't like hateable. It wasn't like they were going overboard and stuff because they actually have time restraints. So that's good to show that you guys are actually realistic on your time. So yeah, pretty alright show to watch. Kenny Omega put up his V triggers when he was in high octane moves. Phoenix only, I think, reversed one Wicked Angel attempt. One move off the ramp. It felt like Pentagon wasn't playing much of a factor, and Pac was just there whenever to interrupt Kenny Omega's moves. And we saw Pac have like 50-50 booking matches with Hangman Page, and he was just there in the match. And he did some stuff, baseball slide to stop balance. He does a decent breaking moves. It just ended up with the one-winged angel to just pick up steam, and no one else cared except a feel-good moment because it was the first full episode of Dynamite in the new year. So pretty much alright show. I'll give it like a simple 6 out of 10. Not much I completely hate. The wrestling was fine. The promos was fine. It was like they were just playing it safe. Playing it safe was okay, but they need to go extreme. They need to go over the top. They want to feel like it's a show that everybody watch. You guys are on TNT. Try to make sure you actually make Moxley feel like a more pure badass. Make sure he controls the screen time, not just MJF, not just Elite. Just make sure that he just prove that he just shovels the thing. Just make sure he's your face, because he can wrestle fine. He gets to control the crowd, and he's a super hyped up dude. So I want to make sure he's the face of a company. Jericho can do his thing as well. He already gets himself over, but you need a baby face, a pure, unadulterated baby face that feels like he controls everything. So this is just my suggestion. It's been a minute since I reviewed Dynamite since like October. So yeah, been quite a minute. Busy with other stuff. But it was nice, decent episode. Thank you for watching this DST show. Playoff predicts are coming your way. Thanks for watching.
You like that? You like that?